racking up 102 points in 2023 and cementing himself as one of the league's top players, it's no surprise that Elias Pettersson entered the 2024 season with high expectations for himself. However, with the noise of an expiring contract looming, he made it very clear to the media that he wouldn't discuss an extension until after the season was over. But as the year went on, silence turned into speculation. Every post-game interview, the same questions kept coming. Was he staying? Was he leaving? Would the Canucks even be able to afford him? And eventually it became headline news. While Pettersson was on pace for a second straight 100-point season, sitting at 72 points in 62 games, the pressure reached a boiling point. Reports surfaced that he was being threatened with a trade to Carolina, and then on March 2nd, 2024, he re-signed with Vancouver for 8 more years at $11.6 million per season. In the 360 days since signing the contract, Pettersson has played in exactly 82 games. But in those 82 games, he's put up just 17 goals and 37 assists for 54 points. That's decent for a solid two-way second-line center, but for the 5th highest paid player in the league, for a guy who was on pace for back-to-back 100-point seasons just a year ago, that's a problem. So what happened? On March 1st, 2021, Pettersson injured his wrist in a game against the Winnipeg Jets.
I have the puck on the blue line. I mishandle it. I'm gonna reach the puck and then my stick hit Nate Thompson's shin pad and that kind of like hyperextended my wrist.
He suited up for one more game after that, but then decided to shut things down for the rest of the year to let it heal. Which turned out to be a good decision because at the start of the next season, when asked if his wrist was still bothering him, he said this.
Missed the last 30 games last year. Everything's feeling 100%. You're all ready to rock this season?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Wrist feels fine. I'm more hungry than I was before my injury, so I'm very much ready to get the season started.
But in the first half of the 2021-2022 season, Pettersson managed just 17 points in 37 games, a 38-point pace over a full season. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, he exploded. In his final 43 games, he scored 26 goals and 25 assists for 51 points. That's a 97-point pace. And by the time 2023 rolled around, the wrist was no longer an issue as he posted a career-high 102 points. But something else was brewing that year. Rumors of a locker room tension involving JT Miller had been swirling for years. At first, it was Captain Bo Horvat's name being attached to the drama. The team dismissed the speculation, but it never really went away. And when the Canucks traded Horvat in early 2023, partly for cap reasons, partly to strengthen the blue line, the whispers only grew louder. And then, at the year-end media availability, Pettersson and Miller were asked about their off-ice relationship and responded in the most awkward way possible.
Can you describe your relationship now and how it's grown, especially during the second half of the season? Each of you.
That's great. Did you feel it needed work?
Sorry?
Did you feel it needed work?
No, do you? Well, no, I'm just going off a comment that was made by JT earlier in the year, right? So.
No, it's
What did I
good.
say?
It was something to the effect of that you've needed to work on your relationship.
Yeah, well, I just think that we're not very alike in a sense of personality, and it's like meeting somebody random on the street and just saying, hey, go be friends with that guy that's nothing like you. I mean, we're not a lot alike, but we're both very competitive at our job and motivated to win. So, I mean, there are things that bring us together, too.
But when the 2024 season began under new head coach Rick Tocchet, the Canucks exceeded every expectation. They shot to the top of the standings and stayed there all season, finishing 6th in the league. And they didn't just make the playoffs for the first time in 5 years, they pushed the Edmonton Oilers to a Game 7 in Round 2, coming within a single goal of advancing to the Western Conference Finals. If there were locker room issues, they didn't seem to be affecting the team. In fact, you'd think their success would have brought them together. But no. The Miller-Pettersson feud hit new highs the following season and was no longer just a rumor. In fact, it became one of the biggest stories in the entire league. And it all came to a head when the Canucks eventually traded JT Miller, fully committing to Pettersson as their guy. But was Miller really the problem? From the moment he arrived in Vancouver, Pettersson's relationship with the media has been complicated. After suffering a concussion from a big hit by Florida's Mike Matheson, a reporter asked Petey if he wanted to go back to Sweden. And he just stared at them. It's also been reported that he's deleted all of his social media to avoid seeing negative press. And most recently, when asked about his struggles this season, he reportedly told Sportsnet's Ian McIntyre it's annoying to deal with the media. But here's the thing, I don't think he's blaming the media. If he was, he'd outright say it. So what is it? What's actually wrong with Elias Pettersson? In January 2024, just a few months before signing his massive contract, Pettersson suffered a knee injury that Rick Tocchet later described as tendinitis. But despite this, for the first time in his young career, he didn't miss a single game all season. This led some fans to question whether the injury was even real or just an excuse. But statistics provided by NHL Edge shows there was a significant drop-off in his skating speed at the time of his alleged injury, one that he's yet to snap back from. So yeah, it's real. There's no doubt about that. The injury lingered through the playoffs where he scored just 1 goal in 13 games and even into the offseason, reportedly impacting his ability to train. And just last week at the Four Nations tournament while playing for Team Sweden, he was seen icing his knee. So why isn't he taking time off? At the end of the 2022 season, when asked if his slow start had anything to do with the wrist injury he suffered the season prior, he said this.
Was that the main reason for the slow start?
No, it wasn't. I mean, I'm probably too honest, but I was a little caught up with like a new contract, missing training camp, expectations were raised. I still felt it, but it wasn't an excuse. I wasn't as confident as I guess always were. And that's where the biggest issue. And the more games I played and it didn't go on well, the more I dwell on it, I guess.
Look, this guy is clearly very hard on himself. I don't think it's possible to become one of the best in the world at anything without extreme self-discipline. But self-discipline also has the ability to bring on an unhealthy level of self-criticism. When you go from being the most exciting new player in a city that cares so deeply about its hockey team to being accused of no longer caring, of being overpaid, of being soft, I don't know how this guy even leaves his house to get groceries without experiencing a level of anxiety most of us couldn't handle. I know some of you are gonna scoff at what I just said and say something like,
well, tough. That's part of the deal. You make big money, you accept big criticism.
You're right, it is part of the deal. But I also think, as human beings, it's part of our deal to give the benefit of the doubt and not assume the worst in people. As fans, we have to avoid tricking ourselves into believing we somehow care more about this guy's performance than he does. That's ridiculous. Nobody cares about Elias Pettersson's play more than Elias Pettersson himself. So what am I saying? Well, if it turns out that pressure is one of the things affecting his play right now and you want him to succeed, maybe take a little bit off of him. If fans have any say in what happens, this might be it. So chill out. Plus, it's not like tweeting out all your anger about the situation like a monkey with an iPhone is gonna do anything anyways. So why not just err on the side of caution and give him some space? You can criticize his play, absolutely. But if you're one of the people beating him down, calling him names, assuming the worst of him, and basically throwing a temper tantrum online, I think you should probably just chill out. So, what's wrong with Elias Pettersson? Truth is, I don't know. It could be a lot of things, but I'm banking on a comeback because those are the stories I love, and I'd rather believe in someone and be wrong than doubt someone and be right. Now, before I get into the last 2 Canucks games, let me just give a big thanks to the sponsor of today's video, Lamjoun. Lamjoun is a hidden gem in Richmond, serving up authentic Armenian and Mediterranean flavors. This cozy family-run spot is named after a crispy flatbread topped with seasoned meat and veggies. But that's just the start. They're also known for their basturma, a cured beef that takes over a month to make, plus pide, kebabs, and more, all crafted with top quality ingredients. And here's the best part. If you grab a meal at Lamjoun during the Canucks season and say Nuckhead sent me, you'll get 10% off your meal. I think you just found your new go-to spot. You're welcome. You can find Lamjoun at 128-11782 River Road in Richmond, right near IKEA. Support a fantastic local spot and treat yourself to something different. Lamjoun, because good food runs in the family. Okay, let's talk about Game 56 against the Vegas Golden Knights. The Quinn Hughes-less Canucks came out of the 2-week Four Nations face-off break kind of flat. They gave Vegas 3 power plays in the first period thanks to 1 delay of game penalty and 2 too many men penalties. Arguably the most annoying penalties to take. However, the newly re-signed Kevin Lank the Tank Lankinen was breakdancing in the crease, making unreal saves left and right to keep the score locked at zeros through all 3 of those penalties. And like magic, in the second period, the Canucks opened the scoring thanks to this great pass by Kiefer Sherwood over to Jake DeBrusk for his 20th goal of the season. 1-0 Canucks. Vegas scored 5 minutes later. Tie game. Pettersson drew a penalty, but the only scoring chance on that ensuing power play was for the Golden Knights. Lankinen was seriously on fire this game. I'm so happy the team locked him up for at least 5 more seasons. Although what that means for Thatcher Demko's health is not lost on me, and I am wearing a diaper 24/7 just in case. Dakota Joshua was banging bodies, Sherwood threw himself at somebody, Hronik made Saad sad, Saad made me sad. 2-1 Vegas. The Canucks ended up losing this game 3-1, and while they looked fairly neutered offensively at times, defensively they were pretty damn sound. It's clear the coaching staff is really trying to hammer down the team's defensive details in time for the playoffs. The only spooky part about that is how uncomfortable their current playoff position is. It'd be nice if they could string together a couple 7-5 wins just to stop some of the sweat from staining my white couch. I should also note that the Golden Knights probably would have scored at least a couple more goals if it weren't for Kevin Lankinen. That guy's been an absolute stud all season. But yeah, 3-1 loss to Vegas. Let's talk about Game 57 against the Utah Hockey Club. It was the first game in a Canucks uniform for Victor Mancini. He's one of the assets they got in the JT Miller trade, and he looked all right out there. He's big, he's fast. I wasn't expecting him to do anything all that crazy right out the gates. I'm just happy he didn't make any bad plays. The still Quinn Hughes-less Canucks took another 3 penalties in the first period of this game. 1 for interference, 1 for holding, and 1 for playing the puck with a broken stick. But thankfully, just like last game, it was the Canucks goaltending saving their asses. But this time, it wasn't Kevin Lankinen. It was Artur's Artie Party Shelovs, baby. He's back. Shelovs hadn't played an NHL game since November, but he looked dialed in. I don't want to get too ahead of myself here, but he kind of looked like 2024 playoff Shelovs out there, didn't he? And hilariously, just like last game, after taking 3 penalties in the first period, the Canucks opened the scoring in the second thanks to a goal from Jake DeBrusk. 1-0 Vancouver. Utah scored 2 minutes later. Tie game. DeBrusk hit Mata, Shelovs made a save, Hedl was doing his deeks, Shelovs made a save. The Canucks got a power play, but on that power play, Shelovs made a save, DeBrusk demolished Kerfoot, Shelovs made a big save, Pettersson started showing glimpses of vintage PD and a tear of happiness came to my eye, Shelovs made a huge save, PD broke in on a breakaway and shot it high. Also, look at him on the bench. He's pissed. You think this guy doesn't care? Read a book and get back to me. Shelovs made another save. PD kept vibing. Shelovs made a save. Derek Forbort got called for a holding with 5 minutes left in the game. Utah scored. 2-1 Hockey Club. Vancouver pulled Shelovs for the extra attacker, but they couldn't capitalize, and that was it. 2-1 loss to Utah. Look, it feels a lot worse than it is. The Canucks are 6-3-1 in their last 10 games, and 6 of those were without Quinn Hughes. I understand that playing in a back-to-back after the 2-week break wasn't unique to them, and given the playoff race they're in, winning at least one of those games would have been ideal, but I think we should just wait a little bit before jumping to any conclusions about this team, positive or negative. They've only played 6 games since the JT Miller trade, and Quinn Hughes hasn't been in any of those. He hasn't even played with Philip Hedl yet. Anyway, comment your score predictions for the next 2 games against the LA Kings and the Anaheim Ducks. If you get it right, I'll shout you out in the next video. Thank you to these Nuckheads for supporting what I do by clicking the join button and becoming channel members. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on Friday. Bye.
I'm an official hockey head. I can't get enough watching this shit. Just the way they get up there and beat each other's ass and then to take that rubber puck and shoot that shit, oh my goodness. It's exhilarating. I don't even know if my blood pressure is going to be able to take this situation. I ain't even been to a fucking hockey game yet. I'm just watching clips on YouTube and TikTok, and I am fucking gone.
If you liked what you just watched and want to keep watching my content, I've picked 2 more videos that I think you're gonna like, so click one of them. But it's okay, if you want to go watch Mr. Beast or something, go ahead. It's fine with me. It's not like a bear is gonna enter my living room and start attacking you. What the fuck?